depending on what you're going to use them for. So this is a common first aid poultice. It'll be great for bites, stings, scrapes. It's wonderful, wonderful for burns, ulcers, boils. Even like if you had like a tooth infection, it could help with that. I've used it for so many different things around here.
All right, here we go. It's just your random guy out in the woods. He's going to give you some life-saving advice today, because as we watch World War III getting ready to pop off, we want to make sure that you guys are prepared to take care of yourselves, even if that means coming up with your own natural remedies. In this video, Stacy's going to make a poultice with you guys, and this is great for stings, cuts, abrasions, any kind of wound that you get to your body. Not a puncture wound, but any kind of wound, scrape, gash, or sting, bite that you get to your body. You'll be able to use this poultice because maybe you won't be able to go to the store so easy, right? One thing that happens when world wars pop off, or even skirmishes in your country, is that the supply chain gets disrupted, and the things that you count on all the time are no longer available for you. So we're also encouraging you guys to stock up on your supplies, but also learn these alternative ways to take care of yourself.
We're going to make one of the easiest home remedies today. And today we're going to make something called a poultice. And a lot of people are like, what in the heck is a poultice? You hear it a lot, but you're just like, have no clue how to do it or what it is. Basically, a poultice is just a bunch of mashed up plants. So what we're going to do is make a paste out of herbs or plant material that's going to help promote wound healing, lower inflammation, and just speed up the healing process. And it's so simple. It's something that's been around for thousands of years. People have used it on humans and on animals for a very long time. And today we're going to learn how to make one because it's so simple. Calendula, it's amazing to promote wound healing. I also gathered lavender, which soothes and heals. This is yarrow flower and yarrow leaf, which is great for burns, sores, and it's an amazing disinfectant. This is plantain. It helps to support wound healing, it helps with relieving pain and lowering inflammation. And here I have the marshmallow leaf and flower. I gathered fresh herbs today. If you don't have the fresh herbs, you can also use dried herbs. I will show you both ways to process and make a poultice with them. First, we're going to use the fresh herbs in the poultice. But I just kind of want to make a point to you guys. You don't have to use all these. The great things about herbs is, you have different ones where you live. Or you might not grow some of the herbs that I have here. They all have wonderful healing properties to them. So right now I'm going to use 5 of them, but maybe you only have 2 of them, or maybe you have 1 of them. It'll work for that too. So you guys just use what you have. We're going to need either a food processor, a hand chopper, or you can just use a good old knife, whatever you got. And I'm going to put the plant matter in there. So I got the calendula flowers, I got the plantain from the yard, I have the marshmallow leaf and flower, my yarrow, and some lavender. And what I'm going to do is I want to kind of break down the plant matter to get some of that goodness out. And one thing I want to make a point while I'm chopping this up is when you are collecting your herbs, if you're collecting them fresh, it's really important to get them in the morning because their oils, their volatile oils, are at their most potency in the morning. So if you wait until later in the day, they won't be quite as good. So I've kind of chopped it up a little bit, broken down the fibers a bit, and I'm going to add a little bit of water. Just a little bit. because my goal here is to make a paste. My choice whenever I make any of my poultices over the years is I use the bentonite clay. And I really like the Redmond clay. It has over 60 trace minerals in it, and it's wonderful at helping with healing because it's going to help nourish the skin. So I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit in there because I want to make this into kind of like that slurry kind of paste. And if you guys want to get your bentonite clay, you can go to offgridwithdougandstacy.com and get a discount there and just push the shop tab. Okay, I'm going to mix this. I put a little bit more water in there. See how it turned out. So I use this. It really works good to get a spatula. So it kind of has that slurry, pasty look. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we're going to use and apply them. So these flour sack towels are a kitchen or a homesteader's, like, you have to have them in your kitchen because they're used for so many things. So I have old ones that I use, and I just cut them up in different type squares because depending on what you're going to use them for. So this is a common first aid poultice. It'll be great for bites, stings, scrapes. It's wonderful, wonderful for burns, ulcers, boils. Even like if you had like a tooth infection, it could help with that. I've used it for so many different things around here. And so what I want to do is show you a way once you've made this poultice, because a lot of people are like, well, what happens if something happens to me in winter? I'm going to show you a way that you can use these fresh herbs that you grew during the summer months, that you can save them through the winter months. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your cloth, like so, okay, and I'm going to get my little paste, and I'm just going to put it on there. And then I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to give you an example. I used this actually yesterday. I opened the chicken coop in the morning, and all of a sudden all these wasps came at me. Wasp nests had just hatched, and they came at me and they stung me all over my wrist and arms about 10 times. So that would be a great thing to do. So the first thing I did, of course, was I did apple cider vinegar because it does neutralize the venom. I poured it all over there, and then got a poultice. And like I say, you guys don't have to use all these. I'm going to make all these together because I'm going to save this in the freezer for later in the winter if we need them. But you can just use one of these herbs, whatever you have. So I have, you can still see some of it. I'm still a little swollen. Just put the poultice on my arm like so. And then just get another piece of cloth, and then I can just tie it around. See if I can tie it with one hand. Like that. And then I just kind of went around and did my business, and it really did help with the pain and the swelling and everything. So the thing when you're going to use a poultice, you can keep it on 30 minutes, you could leave it on an hour, you can leave it on 2 hours. Some people might even go to bed at night with it, in the morning then just take it off, and it'll help promote the healing. So that was my testimony from yesterday. But a lot of people also are like, let's say you're out somewhere. You know, you don't have a first aid kit. You don't have your poultices with you. What are you going to do? There's something called a spit poultice that you can also do. Out in the yard, we have the plantain that we harvested. Here's a plantain leaf. So a lot of people will go ahead. You can do two things, because some people, it's called a spit poultice because you are going to chew it up. Like this. To get all the oils activated. And then let's say you had, you know, a sting or a bite or something, you can just apply it right there, just put it right on there and do your thing. If you have a piece of cloth, you could go ahead and you could tie it around there to keep it on there, and that'll help promote healing. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to chew it up with my spit. So the other option, if you had a knife or a rock, whatever you have around, you could just use it, and you can just really chop it up really good, you know, to release all the good oils and everything. If you have a little water, you might want to add to it. and then apply it on there. But just know, I just cut it up. It's still kind of dry. You want that moisture. So you do have enzymes in your spit that kind of help break it down. And then put that on there, and then apply, you know, a cloth on there, tie it on there, and leave it on there. Yarrow is good. It's a great disinfectant. I know the Native Americans love yarrow because it's all out. We have it in our pasture. We have it all over the place. So yarrow is a good one if that's all you have. So you can use that as a poultice. The plantain works amazingly. So that's another option too. So I'm going to show you your other choice. Let's say you just have dried herbs, okay? Or maybe you don't grow it and you need to buy it from somewhere. Find a good organic herb store where you can get your herbs and you can use dried herbs. I have some calendula here. I have some yarrow. Calendula and yarrow go very good together, so maybe those are the two you have. You can make a double one, or maybe if you only can find one, just use the one. So what we're going to need for this, I love my mortar and pestle. So what you're going to do, and I bet you're thinking, how much do I use? How much do I use? The one thing with this is it's like, how much do you need it for? Or how big of an area are you going to use it for? What I'm doing today is I'm making a lot because I'm going to save this and put in the freezer for other uses throughout the year. So I'm just doing about half and half of the calendula flowers and the yarrow. So I'm just going to add some water. It does help to make your water just a little warm. You don't want to put boiling water over it. And then I'm going to use my mortar and pestle. And for a lot of you guys, maybe you don't have one of these mortar and pestles. You can find them all over. They really come in handy if you want to make pesto or if you want to grind some herbs. Let's say you dehydrated your garlic and you want to make your homemade garlic seasoning, like a garlic powder. Once it's dehydrated, you just put it in here and grind it up. You could use this paste that I just made just with the dried herbs and the water as your poultice and just put it on there. Or I prefer to add the clay to it because it just kind of gives it a better texture and it doesn't ooze all over you. And then I'm going to add the clay. And I'm going to make extras so that it lasts through the winter. A little bit more in there, and then I'm going to show you how we can store these. All right. All right, so I have my fresh matter and I have my dried herbs. All right. So a lot of you are like, well, is there a difference between the two? If I had to choose, I definitely would do a poultice with the fresh because it's going to be a lot more potent, I would say. This is still going to be potent and it's going to be better than nothing at all. But if you do have a choice, I would do the fresh, but the dried is going to be great too. You could also use, if you freeze dry your herbs, you could do that too. It's going to probably be a little bit better than the dehydrated, but they'll both work. So what I'm going to do now is get my little cloth here, and I'm going to put a little dollop on each one. Little does go a long way, and then once I have it, I'm going to fold it. And then I'm going to use, I cut little parchment papers. You can use freezer paper to put between so that they don't stick together. I am doing different sizes because different injuries require different sizes. Okay. So these come in really handy, like if I have injury to one of our livestock, if it's the horses or the sheep or the dogs or the cat gets something, I can put a little poultice on them and even wrap it around, and hopefully they'll leave it on long enough that it won't come off, and then start the healing process. But then what you can do, once you have all of your little poultices made, you can go ahead and put it in like a little glass container or put it in a baggie, whatever works for you guys, and then you can stick it in the freezer so when you need it, Let's say, you know, your 10-year-old got a really bad scrape on their leg, or you got a burn from cooking some wonderful sourdough bread, then you can go ahead and put your poultice on to help with the healing process.
This stuff is centuries old and it actually does work. When I broke 5 of my ribs, we did a poultice and we put that on there and it helped mend my bones. Okay, now if you guys are in the university.offgridwithdougandstacy.com, we'll have another poultice for you over there for you to enjoy and to take notes on. All right, come on, leave a comment down below. Did you guys know you could just chew up some plants and stick them on your wounds and make them heal? That's the big secret that nobody wants you to know. They want you to go get your prescription. Okay, we're not doctors. We don't play one on YouTube. We're only sharing with you guys what we've been using over the last 15 years that we've been living off grid. We don't have primary care physicians. We do not go to the doctor or the hospital for that matter unless it's an emergency. Okay, like we're broken up and we need some stitching or some healing right away. All this sniffle, sneezing, and go to the doctor for antibiotics all the time is America's downfall. All right, please save this video and share it with your friends. As we're watching World War III pop off, who knows how the supply chain will be affected. And if it does, you will not have the tools you need to care for yourself, which will then put you dependent on someone that might not have your best interest at heart. Okay, smash that thumbs up because we love information. Share the video with your friends and we'll see you guys on the next video.